That's funny, Mitch. Kind of reminds me of how when I went into therapy, I was hoping that my doctor would tell me I was paranoid, but mostly they tell me I have good points. Yeah, this is the thing. It's we're living in unprecedented times. We're living at a really scary time. I mean, I would never have. Oh, sorry, Nurse Avalanche says we're living in the world of idiocracy. Yeah, a little bit, but also like worse, like way worse than anything Mike Judge could have ever imagined. Like it's way worse, and particularly like for queer people, not just queer people, but like I'm speaking just from my own sort of like perspective. You know, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I don't consider myself like that well read on like lots of topics that I would like to be, but I am like one of the prevailing feelings that I have quite often is just an absolute feeling of like despair for people's lack of philosophical inquiry or like emotional intelligence. I feel like that's really gone out of the window recently. And everyone's a lot more cruel now and a lot more uncompromising. And I just find it really depressing. And, you know, I'm heavily medicated. So in a way, that's kind of a lobotomy. But yeah, but you know what? For all the sadness that we are fully, obviously, entitled to feel, and the fear that we're entitled to feel, we should also keep in perspective that we haven't lost yet. You know, we lost the battle, definitely, but we're going to win the war. And if we don't win the war, at the very least, we're going to take everyone down with us. At the end of the day, right, we know that we're just trying to live our lives and we're just trying to get through all of this like everybody else. And we're not the aggressors, you know, despite the fact that we're being programmed to think we are the aggressors. We're being, like, in a Pavlovian way, like we're sort of like being told every day by the news media that we're the bad ones, we're the aggressors, it's our fault, all this kind of stuff. We know that it's not true. And it's important that we keep our heads above water and we continue to remember that, basically. The biggest way that we can let these people win is by rolling over and accepting the narratives that they tell about us. And you know, I have seen recently people from the LGBT community doing that. Like I have seen people kind of what I would perceive as like rolling over and using self-preservation and turning their backs on their own community for the purposes of, God, I don't even really know why. Like to kind of curry favour, or I don't even think it's as simple as that. I think you know how we were talking about detransitioners earlier? You know, like the most common reason for detransition is lack of acceptance and essentially like, you know, being in a bad situation, not being able to transition. I feel like I'm seeing like a similar thing with LGBT people too, which is like this kind of impulse to present themselves as more conservative than I think they actually even are. I think they're just trying to like, this sounds like I'm being empathetic because I'm not, because I think these people are like terrible for doing it, but I can at least understand where it comes from. You know, they're trying to like position themselves in a kind of safer position in what they perceive to be a shifting landscape, and they're kind of picking their side of Pangea. I'm not good with metaphors. Imagine Pangea and it's all separating off. They're picking a side and they're jumping on it, and I feel like we're all kind of like being like, no, like stay together, but Trump's son was just on the news calling trans people terrorists. I'm in the US and very concerned. Many anti-trans bills in the works. Yeah, the US is messed up. I'm only laughing because I also saw that, and it's kind of funny. Like, it's not funny. It's terrible. But he is, like, I can't believe that he could say that with a straight face. He said that we're like the most... He said we're like the biggest terrorist threat or something. It's like... Really? I'm really jaded, so I think some of those positive in-person interactions are people not wanting to be seen publicly as a bigot. Yeah, I think there is some of that. I think it's important not to get too paranoid about that. Like, I know that in my times of bad mental health, when I'm feeling particularly down about the world and people, I sometimes project, and I sometimes imagine that all strangers are transphobic and hate me. And it's not true, and it's not a healthy way to navigate through the world. And even if it is true, it's not a helpful thing to think, because it will just, immobilize you, essentially. Yeah, it's a really weird time to be around. A part of me wants to say, like, has it always been weird and we just didn't notice because we were kids or we were younger? Like, were our parents feeling the way that we feel, during, other conflicts and other, like, political upheavals? And a part of me wants to believe that that's true. But also, a new decade or whatever, new centuries, they come with, like, new problems. Unimaginable, new, scary consequences that we could never have, that, like, our parents would never have been able to imagine, New weapons of war, new technologies like AI, things that are just like, you shouldn't even think about them or you won't get any sleep tonight. But, my goal, ultimately, is to try, as best I can, to not become a jaded doomer, black-pilled weirdo about it, we do have to try to hold on to and maintain our hope.